Manson. La Caja Mágica.
Brian and Brad were on Hanging with MTV.
We were guests in the audience. We weren't popular then. We just wanted to go because Brian had a crush on one of the hosts.
I'm Gail Miron, and if you're just joining us, you couldn't have picked a better time.
It was funny because we would dance for the songs. Two crazy, skinny white boys that can't dance. And they got the camera on us the whole time. For some reason, they zeroed in on us. And they come up to us. They're like, oh, where are you guys from?
You in New York for a while?
Yeah, we're here for 3 days. We're in a band, and we're doing a showcase tomorrow. So we're going to be hanging out.
From Miami, you said?
Yeah, we're from Miami. Band's Marilyn Manson.
And he's like, oh, I came here to see, the host, but I'm upset because she's not here today.
We wanted Gail. I came here to marry her. She's not here. I'm sad.
What can I say? I hate to disappoint you, man, but...
I have this picture of her that I
very cool. Now, you took this picture off the television?
Yeah.
That's very cool. Now, and, of course, she's here with us in spirit.
Such a nerd, like, oh, little kid with a crush. We were just, like, fans, and we wanted to be on MTV. We did interviews on cable access, whatever we could do to promote ourselves.
I am very, very pleased to welcome Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids. Guys, thanks a lot for being on the show tonight. Do you feel like you're writing music that kids are relating to?
It seems that the young kids are really, really relating to what I'm saying. I don't know why. I really don't want to analyze it, but I appreciate the fact that people understand where I'm coming from.
Algo por nada.
His dream was always to go national, was always to be signed, to leave Florida.
Marilyn Manson's struggle to get signed is almost a textbook case of what a local band will go through to get signed.
We talked to everyone from independent labels all the way up to Epic, Interscope, American Recording, Maverick, RCA.
Almost every record label you could think of would come to see us play. And everybody hated us. Nobody wanted to sign us.
People were scared that it might have been too hard to promote him. Everybody would be like, oh, well, he's too satanic, he's too into drugs.
A lot of record labels got distracted by the theatrics.
We auditioned for Sony, and we went up to New York for a private showcase.
And the A&R guy comes up to us afterwards and said, they really like the band, but they don't like Brian. They think he's too pretentious and phony, so we're going to pass.
When the deal didn't go through with Sony, it was around the same time that Trent Reznor was starting his own record label.
I got a phone call from Manson, and he told me Interscope is going to give Trent his own label called Nothing Records, and Trent wants us to be the first signee on the label.
Trent decided to sign Brian because he knew he could break that band and make it succeed.
We were very happy to be signed, but I could just start to smell politics happening.
When we started to deal with the big boys and the labels, they felt that the name was too long.
It went from the band that Brian and I put together, which was Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids, to just Marilyn Manson.
It's the last Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids show, because we're changing our name officially to Marilyn Manson.
By dropping the Spooky Kids, then it was Marilyn the persona and Marilyn the band.
That's when, in his head, it became his band.
Retrato de una familia americana.
Trent flew us out to L.A.
He rented the Sharon Tate house to put a studio in, and that's where he wanted to put his record together.
Here we are, Marilyn Manson, and we're recording where, the Manson family killed some people. Yeah, it was a good vibe going on in there.
The album's done, and Brian showed up and said, Interscope's going to drop us if we don't change this, that, and the other thing.
Some lyrics that Charles Manson wrote were incorporated in a song.
They didn't want my monkey on the album because of the ties to Charles Manson.
I could never really see, what the problem was. It was all a goof, it's all tongue-in-cheek.
I know it upset Brian a lot. He was pretty adamant that he was going to find another distributor if he had to.
Thankfully, Trent Reznor really stuck his neck out for us and basically told him, well, you drop Marilyn Manson, you drop 9 Inch Nails.
Interscope gave in. I guess they saw something in the band. They didn't want to let it go.
Marilyn Mania.
They were promoting Portrait of American Family when I started working on the fan club. He was going on the road, so he asked me, would you take care of this for me? You know, we're getting some fan letters. I figured just a couple hundred a month. But it turned out to be a couple of hundred letters every other day. Brian took the fan club seriously because he knew that that was going to be his army.
It seemed like it became kind of like a cult thing.
He loved it. His reaction to it was great. It's working. I have these people that, you know, want a part of me.
I was 5 when I first met him. He was rehearsing right next to my dad's studio. He asked me to be in the Lunchbox video.
He's speaking as a child. You know, someday I want to grow up and be a big rock star, so no one f***s with me.
I thought it was pretty cool how he was different, and that's how I wanted to be.
He brings something to the misfit kids, and he makes it okay for them to show their own look on life.
I saw real devotion on the road. I saw 2 young girls with Marilyn carved in their chest with a razor blade on one and Manson in the others with blood dripping off of them.
There would be underage girls sending in nude pictures of themselves, saying that they wanted to marry him, that they wanted him to take their virginity, that they wanted to kill their family and join his.
Marilyn Manson's fans started just trying to emulate what he was. So the originality factor went out the window. It was no longer be yourself, it was be Marilyn Manson.
When we started getting really weird and creepy fan responses, my first thoughts were maybe we should do something, but then I quickly realized that you're not a therapist, you're a rock band. You can't get that close.
Manson generally cares for his fans.
A lot of people have a very, very wrong image of what this guy is about.
Look at me, because I'm going to punch you in the teeth.
He is very gentle and very kind to people.
Brian was smart. He realized at that time that he is Marilyn Manson and Brian Warner. He could separate the two. He didn't have to be Marilyn Manson 24 hours a day like I was doing. I did all the drugs, slept with, you know, whatever, men, women, animals. I was living the image. You know, I was Gidget Geen.
Brad overdosed one night after a show, and Brian called me like 8 o'clock in the morning, upset that his friend might die.
Brian talked me into going to rehab. He's on the verge of tears. I'm feeling really bad, you know, that I let this guy down. I get a FedEx 2 days later. It's a letter from the lawyers, the managers. Basically, I got fired on Christmas Eve in rehab.
You either pull your weight or you'll be left behind. And unfortunately, didn't live up to Manson's expectations.
When Brian had to finally kick Brad out of the band, it was very difficult for him because he really did care about him a lot.
You know, I still love the guy, and it hurts to know that I did that when they, like, depended on me.
Espiral descendente, momento ascendente.
When they went out on tour with 9 Inch Nails, that was huge.
Trent was very generous with Manson by offering Manson the opening spot on his tour in the fall of 1994.
Every show got bigger and bigger and better, and he got more fans. Even the fans that hated him loved him. Salt Lake City is a great town. Beautiful Mormons out there.
I'm in the hotel room and I get a call from management saying they don't want you to play tonight. They feel the band's offensive. The Mormon community doesn't want it. So they did everything to piss off whoever was not letting them play. The cap to it all was Manson actually on stage with 9 Inch Nails ripping up a Mormon Bible. It caused a lot of havoc.
I don't even think Manson realized the impact it was going to have.
That's the first time I ever saw any protest.
What built this band was controversy, and Brian knowing how to use that to his advantage.
He was able to figure out that bad press was good press, and by giving people something to talk about or write about, it would make him more popular.
God, y'all rats.
We played the Coliseum in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville is a very hardline Christian right town.
As Marilyn Manson was playing, the stage was surrounded by police officers, waiting for him to make the wrong move.
Manson had a strap-on dildo as part of his act, and I guess they didn't really like that.
They arrested him.
He got arrested for dropping his drawers and massaging a very large phallus, and I wrote an article about it. I got a phone call, and the first thing I hear is, you better not print my name.
That seemed to be like a big deal to him, his name being released for the first time.
It would blow the whole image.
That was more of a problem than the actual arrest.
He made a veiled threat, something about my well-being. It's funny to think that the only time I've really had a death threat was from a guy wearing stockings.
A continuación, en su primera gira como espectáculo principal, Marilyn lleva el pandemonium a un nuevo nivel.
He cut himself open pretty good sometimes, and it'd be scary.
Y luego, el sueño hecho realidad de Marilyn se convierte en la peor pesadilla de los padres.
There was no doubt this video was going to just piss off mothers across America.
DrIven, Marilyn Manson.